Yo, what is up guys? It is Chef Dan from Flavor Fit Foods, and today we are making a spicy shrimp spaghetti that is super easy to make, low in fat, high in protein. Throw that brown rice, chicken, and broccoli away. You can get lean, you can build muscle eating delicious stuff like this. Make sure to hit like and subscribe, and let's get into the recipe. First up, we are going to need one 28-ounce can of whole peeled tomatoes. These are Whole Foods brand, but any brand of whole peeled tomatoes will work. Then we're going to need 1 cup of white wine. This is just like a cheap box Chardonnay. Going to measure up 1 cup, and you can save the rest for later use. Then we have 8 ounces of spaghetti. This is DeCecco brand. I really like this brand a lot, but anything will work, like a Barilla or really just any spaghetti, but I like this DeCecco quite a bit. So we're going to zero out the scale, and we are going to weigh out 8 ounces of spaghetti. Next, we are moving on to the star of the show, what everybody probably came for, those shrimps, baby. So I have 12 ounces of shrimp. These I bought already peeled and deveined. Then we have 1/4 teaspoon of dried oregano, 1.5 teaspoons of crushed red pepper flakes, which is going to give us a lot of heat. You can use more or less depending on your heat tolerance. Then we have 1.5 teaspoons of olive oil. Next, I am going to small dice just 1 white onion. Then we have another big flavor ingredient, 2 cloves of garlic. And instead of just like mincing them or anything, I like to actually just slice them pretty thin and leave them sliced. They make for really nice texture and a big bomb of flavor when you bite into a nice slice of garlic in this pasta. Now I'm going to take some flat leaf Italian parsley that I rinsed, and we are just going to bunch it up. And I like to take the knife and just slice it really, really thin, going for about 2 tablespoons here. Does not have to be perfect. This is just going to add a lot of fresh flavor and a beautiful color to the dish. All right, and that is it for prepping, baby. We are on to cooking, and then we are on to eating. So I have my 1.5 teaspoons of olive oil. I'm putting into my pan that's about on medium heat. You can see I have my pasta water boiling in the background. And so the oil's been in there for about 30-60 seconds, just started smoking. It is time to drop our shrimp. So we're gonna drop our shrimp all in there, try and get them in as nice and even of a layer as possible. Once they're all in there, we are going to hit them with some salt and some pepper. And it's important, as you see, to have that pasta water ready, because when we're done cooking our shrimp, when we get our our sauce base going, we're gonna wanna cook the pasta when we want it, and then we are going to finish the dish. So now the shrimp has been sitting in the pan for about, 60-90 seconds. It is ready to get turned. So you can do this one of 2 ways. You can give it the old shakeroo, the old Flipadelphia here, but that can kind of make a mess depending on your range, depending on your equipment. So don't, whatever you want, flip them with a tongue. I do a little bit of both, but the important thing is just get them all flipped over and get that second side cooking. And so these shrimp were small. I only cooked them like another 30 seconds on the second side. If yours are larger, feel free to cook them a little more, but just don't overcook the shrimp, because we are gonna toss them with the spaghetti and with some of the pasta water. So it will get cooked no matter what. Just don't overcook it. Then we're gonna add our onion into the same pot. We remove the shrimp. We're setting them aside for later. Add your onion. We wanna season every step of the way. Hit it with some salt. Give it a little stir. We're not trying to, so the heat's on about medium. We're not trying to get a ton of color on it. We're just trying to sweat it down, get some good flavor. So this whole process took about 5 minutes. I'm just stirring it. I'm sweating it down, really developing a flavor in there. And now we're gonna hit it with our 1/4 teaspoon of oregano. We have our red pepper flakes coming in hot, quite literally. And then we are going to hit it with our sliced garlic cloves. And then we're gonna season it with salt one more time, and we're gonna sweat all of this down for about 1 to 2 minutes. We don't wanna get these garlic cloves burnt. We're just trying to get some color and some flavor once again. All right, if it's not smelling good in your house already, it is about to, because we are hitting it with the white wine. We are deglazing this pan. We're gonna scrape up all these good bits of flavor that we have developed. And yes, I'm hitting it with more salt because salt brings out flavor, and we are going to bring out a ton of flavor by deglazing with this white wine. So just scraping the bottom of the pan, and you can see it's ripping now. I probably reduced this for about 2 minutes, and you really want to get that nice reduction going. So don't be shy with it. And then once it's reduced for about 2 minutes, we're going to hit it with our entire can of whole peeled tomatoes and season it with salt one more time. Once we have the tomatoes in there and they're seasoned, I like to just bust them up at the back of a spoon. You could technically blend them or use like an immersion blender if you wanted, but I personally really like the kind of the textural contrast between the shrimp, the big chunks of tomato, the al dente pasta, the sliced garlic cloves. So I prefer really to just leave them a little chunky. I find it much more enjoyable to eat it that way. And so probably about 5 minutes has elapsed when I'm like fast forwarding and busting this up. It's probably the most time consuming process, or one of them. It's not a hard recipe, but busting the tomatoes up, you want to give it some love. You want to zhuzh it. You want to give it like 5 minutes of your attention. So now the sauce, you can see it's simmering hard. It's reducing nicely. And I'm bringing my pasta water up to the front burner because that's like where my strongest burners are, in the front on my range, because I really want to crank this. We're going to get this water boiling. And while the sauce is, because the sauce is fine right here, guys, like it's chilling, let it reduce. We want our pasta water ripping because we're going to drop our pasta in. And we're probably going to kill the heat on this sauce soon. And then just let the pasta cook. And when the pasta's cooked, we're going to drain it. And then we're going to finish everything together. So drop my spaghetti in there. You want to let it sit in there for like a minute or two before you stir it, because it's still really stiff. And you'll just break spaghetti if you stir it immediately when it's in there. So my sauce is looking good. You can see it's kind of like drying out a little bit. Some of the liquid has been reduced down. My spaghetti's in the pot, so I'm just going to kill the heat on this sauce and just let it chillax until I'm ready to bring the whole dish together. And speaking of bringing the whole dish together, this is a chef's secret, guys. The pasta is almost done, and it's been like 9 or 10 minutes cooking. I took a ladle, and I am ladling some of the starchy pasta water into a measuring cup. I just want a half cup of this pasta water that I am going to use to toss the final product in. That is a big secret. It's very important. Also, do not overcook your pasta. You can see I'm draining it here. It's still nice, bright yellow. If pasta is like a white color, that means you overcooked it. And at that point, it's just gross. So I had my heat off on my sauce. You can see I just kicked it back on. Then we're going to take this starchy pasta water, which is no calories, right? In a lot of these pasta videos you guys are going to see from me, we're going to utilize pasta water because there are no extra calories. It has starch in it, and it really is going to help stretch the sauciness of the pasta. So we mix that pasta water in, and we have our sauce coming back to temp because we are getting ready to dump our spaghetti in there and finalize this dish. So here's our spaghetti going in. Once again, this can get a little messy because we are going to do kind of a lot of tossing and turning in this pot. I like to get it started just with the tongs, just gently start stirring it around, get it incorporated. Once it starts to get a little more incorporated, you can feel free to freestyle it a little bit more and do the kind of classic show-off chef toss. And now we are almost done. I am speeding this up a little bit, but this is really important part. You really just want to toss it gently, stir it a lot, toss it gently, stir it a lot. Like the heat isn't ripping, it's about medium heat, but you want to spend quite a bit of time just tossing it around, making sure everything gets nice and coated. So you want to put your shrimp in, right? I only cooked it about 2 minutes after I put the shrimp in. Right here, we're just really moving quickly, tossing, stirring. Don't have to be intimidated by it, guys. It's really not much. You just really want to make sure you keep that pasta and that shrimp and that sauce moving, and you will end up with a beautifully coated pasta dish. And right here at the end, you want to finish it, last but not least, with your parsley. And here you can see I killed the heat, and everything is beautiful. Everything is coated wonderfully. It is nice and smooth and silky and beautiful. And this is what we're going to end up with here. This is one portion, so 1/4 of the recipe. And now let's get into the calories and the macro breakdown of this dish and how I work it into my diet and what may work for you. So as we said before, the recipe yields 4 servings. So each serving is 418 calories, 26.25 grams of protein, 56.5 grams of carbs, and only 4.1 grams of fat. So besides the obvious, like, you know, if you're trying to lose weight, you're going to want to eat at a deficit. If you're trying to build muscle, you're going to want to eat at a slight surplus. If you guys have any questions about that, feel free to hit me below in the comments, and I'll try to do my best to give you some advice. So for me, this is, first of all, it's an impressive dish. Like, you could make this like for your partner or a date or a friend or whoever, and really impress them, and also kind of like hit your calorie and macro goals, and no one would honestly even notice. Like, it's really that good. It's that savory, it's that flavorful, and for those reasons, I pretty much like to kind of eat this for dinner, because it's a really good, especially if I'm trying to do like a really low calorie day. You know, I could have this meal, and then I could also have like a protein shake, and I could get like around 50 grams of protein and only like 550 total calories, and it's just a really savory, rewarding dish to kind of end the night on. So that is kind of what I like to do, but you could also easily use this as a lunch or whatever you wanted. Like, it is really low in calories and low in fat as well. And just remember, like, everybody's different. Like, I crave food really badly at night, but maybe your cravings come around midday mostly, so maybe you want to eat this midday. There is no right or wrong answer. Just remember that. It's all about what works for you, what works for your schedule, what works for your time, and what works for your body. And like I said before, make sure to hit like and subscribe, and let me know if you have any questions down in the comments. My name is Chef Dan from Flavor Fit Foods, and I will catch you in the next video. Peace out, everybody.